Leonardo da Vinci. Genius Secrets, the story of history's greatest genius. Chapter 1, The Mystery Unveiled. In the quiet room of the Louvre Museum, I stood before the world's most famous painting, the Mona Lisa. The mysterious eyes of the woman in the painting seemed to look through time, her dreamy smile concealing countless secrets. But this was just one of thousands of mysteries that Leonardo da Vinci had left for humanity. I opened my iPad and began scrolling through digitized pages from the Codex Leicester, one of Leonardo's most precious notebooks. Reverse writing appeared on the screen, as if written by a soul from another world. When I held the iPad up to a mirror, the lines suddenly became clear, revealing genius thoughts about light,
from an unseen
water,
future.
And the secrets of the universe. How could a man who lived 500 years ago understand so much about the future, I wondered. The answer lay in the extraordinary journey of a child born in the small village of Vinci, where no one could have imagined it would produce the greatest genius humanity had ever known. Suddenly, the light in the room seemed to change, and I felt as if Leonardo himself was standing beside me. With his characteristically bright, curious eyes and gentle smile. Let me tell you, his voice echoed from the distant past, about the life of one who never stopped asking questions. Chapter 2, The Special Child. On April 15, 1876, in a small house in the village of Vinci in Tuscany, Italy, a baby was born with a destiny written in the stars. The boy was named Leonardo, Nas, brave lion, but the future would prove he was not only brave, but a genius who could never be caged. Leonardo was the illegitimate son of Ser Piero da Vinci, a well-off notary, and Caterina, a country girl. In the society of that time, this could have been a great disadvantage. But for Leonardo, it became a gift, not bound by the strict expectations of a legitimate son. The boy was free to explore the world in his own way. From childhood, Leonardo showed strange characteristics. He wrote with his left hand, but not only that, he wrote backwards, from right to left, as if writing in a mirror. When people asked why, he just shrugged and said, "It's more comfortable this way." But modern scholars believe this was a sign of a brain operating in a completely different way, where the two hemispheres communicated through mysterious pathways. Leonardo's grandfather, Antonio da Vinci, was the first to recognize the boy's special talent. He taught Leonardo to read, write, and calculate, but more importantly, he encouraged the boy to observe nature. Nature is the greatest book, he often said, and the eyes are the door to knowledge. Leonardo spent hours observing birds flying, water flowing, and how light reflected on leaves. He didn't just look, but saw the hidden laws behind every natural phenomenon. While other children played, Leonardo sat by streams, drawing water vortices with astonishing accuracy. Most remarkably, he didn't learn Latin, the language of scholars of that time. Instead, he learned by observing, experimenting, and drawing conclusions from practical experience. This would later be called the scientific method. But for Leonardo, it was simply the natural way to understand the world. "I am a man without learning," Leonardo would write in the future, "but I trust what my eyes see more than what books say." It was precisely this attitude that helped him transcend the prejudices of his time and discover truths that scholars had been unable to find for centuries. Chapter 3, The Outstanding Apprentice. In 1466, when Leonardo was 14, his father brought some of his son's drawings to Andrea del Verrocchio, one of Florence's most famous artists. Verrocchio looked at the drawings and immediately understood he was facing a rare natural talent. "Bring the boy to me," Verrocchio told Ser Piero. "I will teach him everything I know." Verrocchio's studio was not just a place for teaching painting, but a multidisciplinary learning center. Here, Leonardo not only learned to paint, but also studied sculpture, architecture, engineering, music, and mathematics. He was like a giant sponge, absorbing all the knowledge around him. But the event that made Leonardo's name occurred in 1470. Verrocchio was painting the baptism of Christ and assigned his apprentice to paint an angel in the left corner of the painting. Leonardo, then Ahzi, created an angel of supernatural beauty, with deep eyes and perfect shading technique. When Verrocchio saw the result, he stood in silent stillness for a long time. Leonardo's angel was not only more beautiful, but more lifelike than the entire rest of the painting. Legend has it that from that day on, Verrocchio never picked up a paintbrush again, realizing that his student had far surpassed his master. But Leonardo didn't stop at painting. He began studying anatomy by dissecting animals. Later, humans. He designed complex machines, studied light and shadow, and began writing his characteristic reverse notes. Leonardo doesn't learn one trade, a contemporary scholar wrote. He learns all trades at once and masters them all. It was at Verrocchio's studio that Leonardo began his famous notebooks. Each page was a new world of discovery, from how human muscles work to designs for future flying machines. These pages, written in mysterious reverse script, would become humanity's most precious treasure trove of knowledge. Chapter 4. The Mysterious Notebooks. Leonardo's greatest secret lay not in his famous paintings, but in the more than 13,000 pages of notes he left behind. These pages, written in reverse script from right to left, readable only when placed before a mirror, contained ideas and inventions centuries ahead of their time. Why did Leonardo write backwards? There are many theories: to protect ideas from thieves, to avoid church persecution for forbidden research, or simply because it was more convenient for a left-handed person. But perhaps the reason was deeper.
This is an engineering triumph.
It was the special way his genius brain operated. In these notebooks, Leonardo designed the helicopter. He called it the aerial screw. Before Igor Sikorsky built the first real helicopter in 1939, he designed tanks with thick armor and 360-degree rotating cannons. Before the first tanks appeared in World War I, he drew airplanes with wings that could flap like birds, pyramid-shaped parachutes, and even humanoid robots that could walk and move their arms and legs. One of the most impressive notebook pages showed the design of a self-supporting bridge requiring no nails or bolts. In 2019, MIT engineers successfully built this bridge according to Leonardo's exact design and discovered it could bear many times the expected weight. But Leonardo wasn't just an engineer. He was also a pioneering anatomist. In an era when dissecting human corpses was considered criminal, Leonardo secretly dissected over 30 bodies to study human body structure. His anatomical drawings were so accurate that modern doctors still use them for teaching. He drew the human heart in astonishing detail, describing heart valves and blood circulation, OTS, something that mainstream medicine took another 300 years to understand. He studied the brain, nervous system, and even fetal development in the womb. The wicked do not deserve to see these wonderful mechanisms. Leonardo wrote beside an anatomical drawing of the human heart, "Only pure souls can admire the beauty of life." Most miraculous was how each page of Leonardo's notebooks connected to others. A study of water flow led to understanding blood circulation. An observation of how birds fly led to airplane design. A drawing of light reflection led to the distinctive sfumato technique in his paintings. Chapter 5. Mona Lisa, the mysterious masterpiece. In 1503, when Leonardo was 51 and famous throughout Italy, he received a commission from Francesco del Giocondo, a wealthy merchant in Florence. He wanted Leonardo to paint a portrait of his wife, Lisa Gherardini. to celebrate the birth of their second child. This was an ordinary commission. But in Leonardo's hands, it became the world's most famous artwork. What's remarkable is that Leonardo took 4 years to complete this painting. And when finished, he didn't deliver it to the client but kept it with him for life. Why? The answer lies in the secrets Leonardo hid in every brushstroke. First was the sfumato technique, a method of creating shadows and light that only Leonardo had perfectly mastered. He mixed layers of paint thin as smoke, creating natural color transitions so subtle the human eye couldn't distinguish the boundaries. Mona Lisa's smile wasn't painted directly but created by the interaction of light and shadow. Second were the eyes. Leonardo applied his deep anatomical knowledge of human eye structure to create eyes that seemed to look directly at the viewer. No matter what angle you stand at, Mona Lisa still seems to be looking at you. An optical effect that scientists still study today. Third was the background. The landscape in the painting doesn't exist anywhere on Earth, but is a combination of various landscapes Leonardo had observed and studied. The winding rivers, ancient bridges, and distant mountains create a separate world, another dimension belonging to dreams. But the greatest mystery might be the identity of the woman in the painting. Some researchers believe this isn't Lisa Gherardini, but a self-portrait of Leonardo in female form. Using modern facial analysis technology, they've discovered many surprising similarities between Mona Lisa's features and Leonardo's self-portrait. Mona Lisa is not just a painting. Art historian Walter Pater wrote in the 19th century, "She is the embodiment of eternal mystery, of things that cannot be put into words." Leonardo carried Mona Lisa with him on every journey, hung it in his bedroom, and continuously adjusted small details. This painting was not just an artwork, but a companion. The embodiment of everything he loved: art, science, mystery, and unattainable perfection. Chapter 6: The Mad Scientist. While the world knew Leonardo as a great painter, he considered himself a scientist and engineer. "Painting is just my way of recording discoveries," he wrote, "but discovery is the true purpose of my life." Leonardo conducted scientific research with the meticulousness and precision of a modern scientist. He observed water flow through thousands of different experiments, from how water flows around stones to how vortices form in rivers. These studies helped him understand the principles of hydrodynamics, a scientific field only formally developed in the 18th century. He studied light and saw that light travels in straight lines, reflects at angles, and can be refracted when passing through different media. This understanding helped him create the chiaroscuro, light-dark contrast, and sfumato painting techniques, while also designing mirror and lens systems. Leonardo was also a pioneering geologist and paleontologist. When finding fossilized shells on mountaintops, instead of believing the religious explanation that they were relics of the Great Flood, he reached a scientific conclusion. These lands were once seafloors. He understood geological formation processes and even drew maps of sedimentary rock layers. In astronomy, Leonardo observed the moon and realized that the dim light on the moon's dark side earthshine was actually sunlight reflected from Earth. He drew detailed maps of the moon's surface and studied lunar phases. One of Leonardo's most impressive studies was in mechanics and dynamics. He understood the principles of friction, levers, and force transmission. He designed complex gear systems, transmission mechanisms, and even mechanical robots that could operate automatically. Leonardo's robot, called the Cavalier Mechanical Knight, could stand, sit, raise its arms, and even open its mouth. In 2007, engineers recreated this robot according to Leonardo's exact design and found it worked perfectly. "I don't invent anything," Leonardo wrote. "I only discover what nature has hidden." Every machine, every mechanism has a prototype in living bodies. I just observe and copy. It was this humble attitude, combined with extraordinary intelligence and unlimited curiosity, that helped Leonardo become the greatest scientist of his age, and perhaps of all time. Chapter 7. Final Years and Legacy. In 1516, at age 64, Leonardo accepted an invitation from King Francis I of France and moved to live at Clos-Lucé Castle near Amboise. This young king not only admired Leonardo's talent but understood the value of his scientific research. No one knows more than Leonardo, King Francis I declared, about painting, sculpture, and architecture, but more importantly, about philosophy. In France, despite poor health and a paralyzed right hand, possibly from a stroke, Leonardo continued researching and creating. He designed canals, irrigation systems, and even modern urban plans for French cities. He also spent time organizing and editing his notebooks, hoping someday they would be published as scientific books. Unfortunately, this dream was only partially realized, as after his death, many pages of notes were lost or scattered across Europe. On May 2, 1826, Leonardo da Vinci died at Clos-Lucé Castle. Legend says he died in the arms of King Francis I, but in reality the king was in Paris at the time. Nevertheless, what mattered was that Leonardo was respected and loved until his final moment. In his will, Leonardo left his estate to his beloved student Francesco Melzi, along with all notebooks and drawings. Melzi spent the rest of his life protecting and organizing his master's intellectual legacy. Leonardo's legacy lay not just in paintings or inventions, but in his unique approach to knowledge. He proved that art and science weren't separate fields, but two sides of the same coin. Careful observation, practical experimentation, and creative thinking. Real method. This was the method Leonardo pioneered that remains the foundation of modern science. Centuries after his death, scientists and engineers continue discovering new ideas in Leonardo's notebook pages. From helicopters to robots, from tanks to parachutes, from mechanical computers to hydraulic systems, all originated from this man's extraordinary imagination. Chapter 8. The Immortal Legend Today. When we fly in modern helicopters, when robots help in our homes, when we use parachutes or drive cars with gear transmission systems, we're living in the world Leonardo da Vinci dreamed of 500 years ago. But Leonardo's greatest legacy isn't specific inventions, but the spirit of unlimited exploration. He proved that humans can transcend all boundaries of knowledge, that curiosity is the most powerful driver of progress, and that art needs science. Science needs art. Learning never exhausts the mind. Leonardo wrote in a notebook page, "The more we learn, the more we realize how little we know. And that's what makes us happy." In our age, when AI and technology are changing the world at breakneck speed, we need Leonardo's spirit more than ever. The combination of creative thinking and scientific method, artistic intuition and mathematical logic, dreams and reality. Leonardo da Vinci wasn't just a genius, he was a symbol of humanity's infinite potential. As we face the great challenges of the 21st century, SEU, climate change, artificial intelligence, unafraidja, space exploration, BNR, we need souls like Leonardo unafraid to ask questions, never stopping experimentation, and never satisfied with ready-made answers. Leonardo da Vinci's final secret might be the simplest thing: he never stopped being a curious child. Each of us has a little Leonardo inside, we just need enough courage to let it fly free. As I left the Louvre Museum, Mona Lisa's eyes still followed me. But now I understood that mysterious smile wasn't an answer, but an invitation, an invitation for us to join humanity's greatest adventure. The journey to discover the infinite secrets of the universe and ourselves. Leonardo da Vinci is gone. But his question remains: do you have the courage to look at the world with new eyes every day?